Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning back into Change for Cadence. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for joining me today. Also, I would like to thank all the viewers, everyone who showed me support and love. I definitely appreciate it and it meant a lot. So this is week 2 of my mental health journey. So I wanted to get into some of the resources that you're also going to be able to see at the end when the credits roll. So we do have Rutgers locally. We also have Mount Carmel locally. We also have Northwest Essex and Powerhouse. Now I did put a link nationally to the suicide prevention and a crisis text line that you could text if you or anyone that you know is in a need and needs some intervention immediately. So with this video, we're just going to review basically my second session with my therapist. Okay, so just to review a few of the talking points that we'll be discussing in week 2. We discussed my first initial week. We discussed if I was able to use some of the tools that she provided for me. We also did talk about some of my past traumas and stressors. Just to outline some of the topics that we'll be covering, we did discuss my first initial week after the first session. We also discussed me being able to implement some of the tools that she gave me. We also talked about me adjusting to the medication. And then lastly, we discussed some of my childhood trauma and stressors and things that more than likely I'm going to have to discuss in depth to overcome. So in the beginning of our conversation, we discussed some of the tools that she gave me last session and if I was able to implement any of them. And I was actually able to implement quite a few. One of those being a mommy and me group. If you remember from last week, the goal was for me to join the Mommy and Me group to foster my own support system where me and the other parents would be able to depend on one another, kind of creating our own village. Because it does take a village to raise a child. So good news there. I do have some play dates scheduled for this weekend and some in the future. And hopefully, at least that's a starting point with that. Secondly, we did go ahead and organize a reward system, which is another tool that she gave me. I went to my local Walmart and I got this dry erase board. That way I would be able to have a visual reward system for Cadence to identify with. Now we're doing the days of the week, and you have sad face for not a good day, you have happy face for an excellent day, and I did the heart, just for if it was a so-so day. We had ups and downs, but it's still, a lot of love. Not sure if you guys could see this. At the end of this, we have a goal. Cadence's goal last week was to get her nails done, but we did not have the best week last week, so that's this week's goal as well. And as you can see, she's on track, so that's a great thing. Okay, so another tool that I was able to implement was basically, I just want to start off, I guess, by sharing the story so that you can see how I was able to use this tool. So on the 4th of July, I woke up to my daughter. You're going to see, it looks like she's covered in tar. She has it on her face, she has it on her elbow, she has it on her feet. So I guess she had like a little late night mission in the medicine cabinet where she took mommy's mascara and put it all over herself and all over my white sheets as well. Now, she's been having these excursions, and this is something that we've been working on, and I was able to use the technique of telling her that mommy was really disappointed in her. She hurt my feelings and all of this, just really honing in on it. And you know what my baby did? She took the initiative. She said, "Mommy, I'm going to go clean myself up." She went into the bathroom, she cleaned her face, she cleaned her arms, she cleaned her feet, and that was a way of her taking accountability. So that was an awesome technique that I was able to implement. Now, however, I did confide in with my therapist that even if she didn't, we still were going to go, and I felt like the week prior rewarded her for her bad behavior by going to a family event. And then, of course, we had family cookout on the 4th of July as well. But we still were going to go because that's something that I struggle with, getting alone time and being around my peers. And I get that semblance of having, not saying the time off because I know it's not a job, but having time to myself and being able to communicate with, peers and hanging out. And that's the only time that I get that kind of semblance. So we also discussed, I actually had like a crazy surprise, which sometimes my aunt does do this. She actually ended up taking Cadence home with her that evening. I didn't have any plans, and as a lot of you moms know, if you're grateful when you don't really get time off or time to yourself, sometimes it's just like whatever, I'm gonna go read a book, do a bath, listen to some Sade, wake up late, enjoy doing that, and that was actually some me time as well. So those are some of the tools that we were able to implement within the first week, and that's something that I was definitely, appreciative of. She did commend me for being able to use those tools. Also, what she did inform me about is that what my daughter was doing when she, took the initiative and decided to clean up her mess, it was basically her atoning and acknowledging that she crossed boundaries. So for any of you feeling overwhelmed, it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific mommy situation, but with me it is, because she let me know that I have to set the boundaries and it's her job to test those boundaries. She's learning and we're both learning together. So if anyone's feeling overwhelmed and you're in this type of situation, it's actually normal. It's something that we're going to experience as moms as well. So the next thing that we discussed was my body's response to the medication. So I told her that I was able to get more sleep, but my main concern is that I found myself still being short, easily angered, and lashing out when I'm in a negative situation or when I'm feeling overwhelmed. And because that's important to me, being as though I suffered childhood abuse and I know that it's a slippery slope, I told her that I do feel like I still need help with that. So her response was she made an appointment for me to meet with the clinician. The clinician, she believes, is going to do something that they call a med adjustment, which means that they're going to adjust the dosage for one of the medications that they already have me on, which more than likely will be the mood stabilizer, since I'm on the very least dosage that you can have. So that is something that I'm going to have done, and then after that, we're going to have our next session. So due to that I had to have a med adjustment, I actually got nervous because remember this program is only supposed to be 30 days. So then in the session I became concerned. I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? So they're going to adjust my meds. It takes 2 weeks for these meds to even start to kick in. Then what am I going to do for the other 2 weeks? Then I just started, going inside of my mind. My mind was racing like, okay, are we going to find my new therapist? Or are we going to find my new treatment plan? How are we going to make sure that this is working? And basically I was talking to Mile a Minute, and she had to calm me down, relax, tell me to relax, woosah, everything's going to be okay. Just because the program is initially for 30 days doesn't mean that mine will be for 30 days. That her, the clinician, no one is going to, stop working with me until, I reach the level of treatment that I need to be at, and also until we find a long-term process, a long-term solution, until we get care outside of this rutgers program. So that was something that really did reassure me, and that's something that I was, grateful for as well. We touched on some of my traumas and stressors, things that we're going to end up having to unpack in our next few sessions. Those being abandonment, me being sexually molested when I was 5, me being physically abused until I was 10, navigating the foster care system, growing up in group homes and shelters and things like that. Some of my stressors, family stressors, work stressors, things like that. So that's something that we're gonna dive into these next upcoming sessions, but she just let me know that regardless of whatever medicinal treatment I receive, I still need to unpack these issues if I'm gonna get somewhere, because this cycle will continue. I'll continue to, just put a Band-Aid on everything like I did with all of the traumas that I went through, then more than likely going through postpartum depression, and then everything that was exacerbated, that I, when I basically reached a breaking point during COVID-19. So we're gonna unpack those things so that I have some clarity and I'm secure in my emotional, feelings. So that's something that I'm actually, if I'm gonna be honest with you, very, very nervous about. But again, I definitely do appreciate everyone, sending love, showing support, for watching. That's something that I'm really grateful and appreciative of. And again, if this can help just one person, then, I feel like I've done my due diligence. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. You can shoot me a DM and I'll answer them next week. And it'll be anonymously as well, just in case. So please stay tuned. Look at the credits. Before those run, I'm going to review a quote that I have from Russell Wilson. If we start being honest about our pain and our anger and our shortcomings, instead of pretending they don't exist, then maybe we'll leave the world a better place than we found it. So until next time, I hope everyone is blessed. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good day.